Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to today's explosive episode of the Cowboys Report, your number one source for everything Dallas Cowboys. Buckle up because we've got some massive breaking news that's shaking up the NFL world, and it's centered right here on America's team. Before we dive into the chaos, I want to throw down a challenge to all of you out there in the Cowboys community. Smash that like button right now, and let's prove to Marshy that we've got the most passionate fan base in the NFL. It's time to get after it, Cowboy style. Type F in the comments for Forget You, Marshall, and let's light up that like counter together. Are you ready? Let's do this. Now, let's get to the heart of today's blockbuster story. The Dallas Cowboys cornerback situation is on the verge of a major shakeup, and the clock is ticking as we head toward the 2025 NFL season. The Athletic's very own Jon Machota, a trusted insider and a great friend of the show, just dropped a bombshell in his latest 53-man roster projection that has Cowboys fans buzzing from coast to coast. According to Jon, the Cowboys are leaving an open roster spot at cornerback, and he's strongly hinting that the team is gearing up to make a significant addition before the season kicks off in September. This isn't just idle speculation. Jon knows this team inside and out, and when he speaks, the NFL listens. His exact words? If Dallas makes another significant roster move between now and the season opener, cornerback is the position to watch. Folks, that's not just a prediction, that's a red alert for Cowboys Nation. So why is this such a big deal? Let's break it down. The Cowboys' cornerback depth is looking thinner than a sheet of paper right now, and that's putting it politely. Without a proven veteran or a breakout star to anchor the position alongside names like Stephon Diggs, the team is walking a tightrope. Jon's projection has sparked a firestorm of discussion because it signals that the Cowboys' front office is well aware of this glaring weakness. They know they can't roll into the season with the current group and expect to compete with the NFL's elite passing attacks. Whether it's a splashy free agent signing, a blockbuster trade, or a sneaky pickup from the waiver wire, all signs point to Dallas making a move to bolster their secondary. And here's the kicker. Jon hinted that this move might not happen right away. We could be waiting until August, when training camp is in full swing and the pads are popping for the Cowboys to pull the trigger. That's classic Dallas. They love to take a long, hard look at their depth chart before making a decision. Remember, this is a team that's not afraid to wait a week or two into camp to admit, yeah, we're not quite good enough here, and then make a bold move to fix it. Let's talk about the current state of the Cowboys' cornerback room, because, folks, it's not pretty. Without Stephon Diggs, who's still recovering and working his way back to form, the depth chart feels like it's held together with duct tape and hope. Josh Butler? Not on the roster. Savion Red? He's got potential, but he hasn't fully established himself as a reliable option yet. Then there's Kalen Carson, who some fans are excited about. But let's be real, he wasn't exactly setting the world on fire in Buffalo last season. Behind them, you've got names like Colin Barnes, Andrew Booth, Israel Mukuamu, and Nahshon Wright. No offense to these guys, but if one more injury hits, and we all know cornerback is a position that takes a beating over the course of a season, the Cowboys could be in serious trouble. Imagine facing the likes of A.J. Brown, Davante Adams, or CeeDee Lamb's former teammates in Philly without a rock-solid secondary. It's a recipe for disaster, and the Cowboys know it. That's why the idea of adding another corner is gaining serious momentum, and it's got the entire NFL world talking. So, who could the Cowboys target to shore up this shaky secondary? Let's start with the big name that Jon Machota dropped in his projection, Stephon Gilmore. Yes, you heard that right. The veteran cornerback who's been a fan favorite in Dallas is back in the conversation. Gilmore makes all the sense in the world for the Cowboys, and here's why. If Dallas goes through the first couple of weeks of training camp and realizes their cornerback group isn't ready to compete at a championship level, Gilmore is the kind of proven veteran who could step right in and make an immediate impact. Just look at what he did last season. After signing late with the Minnesota Vikings, Gilmore stayed in shape, adapted quickly, and delivered solid play week after week. This is a guy who knows the Cowboys' defensive system like the back of his hand, and there's a level of familiarity with the front office that makes this a no-brainer. Sure, he's turning 35, but don't let that fool you. Gilmore's instincts are still sharp, and he's got the experience to be a reliable stopgap starter while younger players develop. Now, let's talk money, because that's always the elephant in the room. Last season, Gilmore earned $7 million with the Vikings, and recent contracts for other veteran corners give us a sense of what his next deal might look like. For example, Shaquille Griffin just signed with Seattle for $3 million with incentives that could push it to $4 million. Realistically, Gilmore's next contract probably lands somewhere in that $4 to $7 million range. He's not an elite, lockdown corner anymore. Nobody's expecting him to be Deion Sanders in his prime, but he's more than capable of stepping in as a CB2 or CB3 until the younger guys are ready to take over. The question is whether Gilmore would be willing to accept that role. Reports from last season suggest he didn't want to leave Dallas in the first place and was hoping to return, but the Cowboys opted to invest in younger options. Now, with the secondary looking shaky, it might be time to bring him back home. If he's open to a team-friendly deal, this could be a match made in heaven. But Gilmore isn't the only name on the radar. Let's dive into some other free agents who could be in play for the Cowboys. First up, Mike Hilton. This guy is an intriguing option if Dallas wants to prioritize run defense and keep Darren Bland on the outside. Hilton was used primarily on early downs with the Cincinnati Bengals last season, which is great for stopping the run, but he often sat out in obvious passing situations. That's a bit of a red flag, as it suggests he's not a three-down player anymore. Still, as a nickel-only defender, Hilton is one of the best in the business, and he could bring some much-needed toughness to the Cowboys' secondary. Then there's Rasul Douglas, who had a fantastic 2020 and 2022, but struggled with inconsistency in Buffalo last season. Douglas is a bit of a boom or bust signing. He's shown he can play at a high level, but you never know which version of him you're going to get. If the Cowboys are feeling bold, he could be worth a look. Another name to keep an eye on is Asante Samuel Jr. Now, this one's a bit complicated. Samuel was a fan favorite coming out of Florida State, and a lot of Cowboys fans would love to see him in the star. The problem? He's got shorter arms than the Cowboys typically like in their corners, and he's coming off a neck injury that required surgery and limited him to just 4 games last season. Health and measurables are going to be major factors in any decision about Samuel, but his talent is undeniable. Then there's Jack Jones, a true wild card. When this guy is locked in, he's making splash plays left and right. But when he's off, it's not pretty. He's a high-risk, high-reward option that could either be a game-changer or a complete bust. Kendall Fuller is another veteran to consider. His decline might have started, but his ability to play both inside and outside makes him a versatile option for a team in need of depth. Finally, there's Cameron Sutton, who was excellent with the Pittsburgh Steelers and solid in Detroit before off-field issues derailed his career. His future is uncertain, but the talent is still there if he can get back on track. Now, let's shift gears to the trade market, because there's always some juicy buzz floating around. One name that keeps popping up is Jalen Ramsey. Yes, the Jalen Ramsey, one of the best corners in the game. The Miami Dolphins have yet to find a trade partner, and there's been talk that Ramsey wants to land on the West Coast. Unfortunately for Cowboys fans, Dallas doesn't exactly fit that geographic preference. Plus, let's be real, the Cowboys aren't likely to take on a contract that comes with $21 million in cash owed this year, even if the cap hit is manageable. That's just not how Jerry Jones and company typically operate. They prefer to be smart with their money and avoid massive financial commitments, especially for a player who might not be a long-term fit. So, while Ramsey's name is exciting, don't hold your breath for him rocking a Cowboys jersey anytime soon. If free agents and trades aren't the answer, what about cut candidates? Could the Cowboys find a diamond in the rough from another team's roster cuts? I spent some time digging through the possibilities, and let me tell you, it's slim pickings out there. Good cornerbacks don't just get cut without a reason. Usually, it's because of injury concerns, performance issues, or a scheme mismatch. Names like Jalen Armour-Davis, Diamador Lenoir, Trey Avery, Bryce Hall, and Bobby Price could potentially become available if their teams decide to move on, but none of these guys are what you'd call a slam dunk upgrade. They're more like depth pieces who could compete for a roster spot, but they're not going to walk in and solve all of Dallas's problems. The reality is, if the Cowboys want a true difference maker, they're going to have to look at the free agent or trade market. So, where does this leave us? The Cowboys are at a crossroads. They know they need to add talent at cornerback, and they're not afraid to make a move if the right opportunity presents itself. The question is whether they'll go big with a name like Stephon Gilmore or take a chance on a lesser-known player who could develop into a contributor. One thing's for sure, the front office is keeping a close eye on the situation, and they're not going to let this weakness go unaddressed. Training camp is just around the corner, and that's when we'll really start to see the pieces fall into place. Will they bring back a familiar face, like Gilmore? Will they swing a trade for a surprise name we haven't even considered? Or will they roll the dice on a young, unproven player and hope he steps up? Only time will tell, but one thing's certain, this is a story that's going to dominate Cowboys headlines for the next few weeks. Before we wrap up, I want to hear from you, Cowboys Nation. Do you believe the Cowboys will end up signing another cornerback before the season starts? Drop a Y for yes or an N for no in the comments below. That poll is pinned at the top, so go ahead and cast your vote. Your voice matters, and we want to know what you think about this critical roster decision. And while you're down there, don't forget to keep the pressure on Marshall Green. Let's show him that the Cowboys community is the best in the NFL by smashing that like button. Oh, and one more thing before you go, if you're looking to rep your Cowboys pride this 4th of July, head over to chatsports.com/Cowboys for some awesome Cowboys gear. The link is in the description and comments, so check it out and grab your swag before the holiday. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a single second of breaking news, signings, or rumors as this roster continues to evolve. We've got you covered with all the latest updates on America's team, and we're just getting started. That's it for today's Cowboys Report, but we'll be back soon with even more news, analysis, and hot takes on everything Dallas Cowboys. This cornerback situation is far from over, and you can bet we'll be tracking every move the team makes as we head toward training camp. Until then, keep the faith, keep those likes coming, and let's show the NFL why the Cowboys are the greatest team in the world. We'll see you next time, Cowboys Nation.